Brenda freezes mid-step in the hallway of the sprawling penthouse in Atherton, California. Her cleaning cart wheels suddenly feeling too loud against the marble floors. For the third time this week, she has caught Young Min, the Korean powerhouse who owns half the legitimate shipping container empire on the West Coast, staring at her through the reflection of his office's glass wall. But this time is different. This time, when their eyes meet in the mirrored surface, his entire face floods with color, a deep crimson that starts at his neck and creeps up to his ears. The man who negotiates billion-dollar port contracts without flinching just knocked over his coffee mug while trying to pretend he was looking at something else. Brenda watches, fascinated and confused, as Young Min, dressed in a crisp navy suit, scrambles with expensive napkins to clean up the mess, refusing to make eye contact again. The dark liquid spreads across his pristine white desk, soaking into what looks like important documents, but he seems more concerned with not looking in her direction than saving whatever paperwork he just ruined. She should keep moving. She has 4 more rooms to clean before her shift ends, and Mrs. Choi, the head of household staff, does not appreciate dawdling. But something roots Brenda to the spot, watching this powerful man reduced to fumbling chaos by her mere presence. Young Min finally chances a glance toward the hallway, and their eyes meet directly this time, not through glass or reflection. He goes completely still, napkins suspended in midair, coffee dripping onto his probably $1,000 shoes. The color in his face deepens impossibly further. Brenda feels heat rising in her own cheeks now. She has worked as a maid in wealthy homes across the Bay Area for 6 years, invisible to most of her employers, treated like living furniture that occasionally dusts their actual furniture. She has cleaned mansions in Pacific Heights, estates in Hillsborough, penthouses in San Francisco's financial district. Rich people look through her, around her, never at her. But Young Min looks at her like she is the only person in the world. It is terrifying and thrilling in equal measure. His assistant, Mrs. Choi, walks past Brenda with a knowing smile that makes her stomach flip. The older Korean woman pauses, glancing between Brenda and Young Min's office, then shakes her head with barely concealed amusement. "He has been like this for 2 weeks, Mrs. Choi says quietly in her accented English. "Ever since you started, very unusual for him." Brenda does not know what to say to that, so she just nods and pushes her cart forward, acutely aware of Young Min's eyes still on her back. She has heard things about him from the other staff members. How he built his shipping business from almost nothing after moving to California 5 years ago. How he is fair but exacting with his employees. How he works 16-hour days and rarely socializes outside of necessary business functions. How he is unfailingly polite to everyone, but keeps a distance that feels almost protective, like he is afraid of letting anyone too close. Brenda turns the corner into the library, her favorite room in the massive penthouse. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlook the manicured grounds, and on clear days, you can see all the way to the San Francisco Bay. She starts dusting the shelves, losing herself in the familiar rhythm of work. She does not hear Young Min approach until he speaks. "I apologize." Brenda spins around, nearly dropping her dust cloth. Young Min stands in the doorway, looking anywhere but directly at her. His hands are shoved in his pockets, and he has changed his coffee-stained shirt for a fresh white one. The tips of his ears are still red. "For making you uncomfortable," he continues, his accent thickening slightly with what sounds like nervousness. "I do not mean to stare. It is rude. I will stop." He sounds so genuinely distressed that Brenda finds herself smiling despite her own embarrassment. "It's okay. I mean, it's a little weird, but you're not being creepy about it or anything." Young Min finally meets her eyes, and something in his expression makes her breath catch. Vulnerability, raw and unguarded in a way that does not match his reputation or his surroundings. "You are the first person in very long time who does not look at me and see something they want," he says quietly. "Everyone wants business deal or connection or favor, but you just see me. I think that is why I cannot help looking." Brenda has no idea how to respond to that kind of honesty. In her experience, wealthy men do not expose themselves like this, do not hand over their vulnerabilities to the help like gifts. "I should let you work," Young Min says when she does not respond. He backs toward the door, then pauses. What is your name? Your real name, not just what Mrs. Choi calls you. Brenda, she says. Brenda Morrison. Brenda, he says it carefully, like he is tasting the syllables. I am Young Min, though I think you know this already. Everyone knows who you are, Mr. Kang. Just Young Min, please. Mr. Kang is my father, and I work very hard to be nothing like him. There is a story there, Brenda can tell, layers of complication she does not understand yet. Before she can respond, Young Min gives a small bow and disappears back down the hallway. Brenda stands alone in the library, heart racing for reasons she cannot quite name. She has been invisible for so long that being truly seen feels like standing in direct sunlight after years in shadow. It is uncomfortable and wonderful and absolutely terrifying. She goes back to dusting, but her hands are shaking slightly. What is happening here? And why does the most controlled man she has ever seen lose all composure the moment she walks into his line of vision? Has anyone ever made you feel seen when you were used to being invisible? If this story is already hitting different, show some love by hitting that like button. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do that now because this story is about to get W. 3 days pass, and Brenda does not see Young Min again except in brief glimpses. He seems to be making an effort to avoid the penthouse during her shifts, which should be a relief, but instead feels like a loss she has no right to feel. She is cleaning the kitchen on Thursday afternoon when Mrs. Choi approaches with an expression Brenda cannot quite read. Can we talk? The older woman asks, gesturing to the small staff break room off the main kitchen. Brenda follows, wondering if she is about to be fired. Maybe Young Min complained about her work. Maybe she crossed some invisible line she did not know existed. Mrs. Choi closes the door and turns to face her, hands folded neatly in front of her. Mr. Kang has a request, and he asked me to present it to you because he is too embarrassed to ask himself. That is not what Brenda expected. Okay. There is a business dinner tomorrow night in San Francisco. Very important clients from Seoul, including some of Mr. Kang's family business associates. They are all bringing their wives. Mrs. Choi pauses, choosing her words carefully. Mr. Kang needs to appear settled, stable. The optics matter in Korean business culture. Brenda's stomach drops as she realizes where this is going. He wants me to pretend to be his girlfriend. He needs someone to accompany him as his plus one, just for the evening. He is offering $5,000 for your time. $5,000. That is more than Brenda makes in 2 months of cleaning houses. That is enough to finally fix her mother's leaking roof back in Oakland. That is enough to make a real dent in her student loans. But this sounds exactly like the kind of situation her grandmother warned her about. Rich men who think everything and everyone has a price. Why me? Brenda asks. He could hire an actual escort service or ask someone from his own social circle. Mrs. Choi's expression softens. Because you are the only person he has shown genuine interest in for the 5 years I have worked for him. Because he trusts you, though I am not sure he understands why yet. And because he is too shy to ask you himself. Shy, the man who runs a shipping empire. Power in business and courage in personal matters are very different things, Mrs. Choi says. Mr. Kang is brilliant with contracts and negotiations, but with his heart, she shakes her head. He is like a boy. Brenda wants to say no. Every instinct tells her this is a bad idea, that mixing professional boundaries with whatever this strange tension between her and Young Min is will only lead to complications. But $5,000. And underneath the practical considerations, something else whispers in her mind. Curiosity, the desire to see Young Min in his element. To understand more about the man who looks at her like she hung the moon. I need to think about it, Brenda says. Mrs. Choi nods. Of course, but I need an answer by tonight. The dinner is tomorrow at 7. Brenda spends the rest of her shift turning the offer over in her mind. She finishes cleaning the penthouse on autopilot, her thoughts miles away. By the time she is packing up her supplies, she has almost convinced herself to decline. Then she hears a throat clear behind her. Young Min stands in the foyer, still wearing his suit from earlier, but with his tie loosened, and his hair slightly mussed, like he has been running his hands through it. He looks exhausted and nervous and impossibly young despite being in his mid-30s. "I need to explain," he says without preamble, "about the dinner. Mrs. Choi already told me. But not why I asked you specifically." Young Min takes a step closer, then seems to think better of it and stops. "I could hire someone, professional escort, someone trained for this kind of thing. Would be easier, probably smarter. But I do not want to spend evening pretending with stranger." "You barely know me," Brenda points out. "I know you take your coffee with too much cream and not enough sugar. I know you sing quietly to yourself when you think no one is listening, usually old R&B songs. I know you stay late every Tuesday to help Mrs. Choi with the heavy cleaning even though it is not your job, and you never ask for extra pay." Young Min's ears are turning red again. "I know you are kind and honest, and you do not treat me like I am made of money or danger. So no, maybe I do not know big things yet, but I know enough to know I would rather spend difficult evening with you than easy one with stranger." Brenda's heart hammers against her ribs. No one has ever paid such close attention to her before. No one has ever catalogued her small habits like they matter. "What are the rules?" she asks, and she can see the exact moment Young Min realizes she is considering it. His whole face lights up. "Whatever you want. You set all boundaries. My driver picks you up, brings you home safely. I pay for dress if you need one, or you wear what you want. We stay at dinner only as long as you are comfortable. And the money, it is yours regardless, even if you change your mind halfway through evening. $5,000 to eat dinner and smile, your business partners. $5,000 for your time and for helping me avoid very uncomfortable questions about why I am not married yet." Young Min allows himself a small smile. "My family is very traditional, very persistent about such things." Brenda thinks about her mother's roof, about the medical bills from her father's final hospital stay that still haunt her credit report, about how $5,000 could mean breathing room, even if just for a little while. She thinks about Young Min's smile and the way he blushes when she catches him starring. "Okay," she says, "I'll do it, but I have conditions." "Anything." "You pick me up yourself, not a driver. I want to know I can trust who I'm getting in a car with." Young Min nods immediately. "Of course. And if at any point I feel uncomfortable or unsafe, we leave. No questions, no guilt trips." "Absolutely. And you have to stop apologizing for looking at me. It's getting old." That surprises a genuine laugh out of him. "Deal, though I make no promises about the blushing. That seems to be involuntary." Brenda finds herself smiling back. "What time tomorrow?" 6:30. Dinner is at 7:30, but I thought we could talk first. Go over what to expect, make sure you feel prepared. Text Mrs. Choi my address. And Young Min." She waits until he meets her eyes. "This is just business, right? Just helping you out for one night." Something flickers across his face, there and gone too quickly to identify. "Just business," he agrees, but it sounds like a lie they are both choosing to believe. Brenda leaves the penthouse with her mind racing. She has no idea what she just agreed to, but as she drives her beat-up Honda back to her small apartment in Oakland, she cannot stop replaying the way Young Min looked at her. Like she is precious. Like she matters. It has been so long since anyone looked at her that way that she has almost forgotten what it feels like. Tomorrow night, she tells herself, is just a job. Good money for a few hours of work, nothing more. But her racing heart suggests otherwise. Young Min arrives at Brenda's apartment building at exactly 6:30 the next evening, driving a dark blue SUV that is nice, but not ostentatious. Brenda watches from her window as he parks and then sits in the driver's seat for a full minute, clearly gathering courage. She takes one last look at herself in the mirror. The dress she chose is simple, a deep burgundy sheath that she has owned for years, saved for job interviews and the occasional wedding. She cannot compete with the designer gowns the other women at dinner will probably wear, but the dress fits well and makes her feel confident, which is more important. Her phone buzzes with a text. "I am downstairs. No rush, take your time." Brenda grabs her small clutch and heads down. When she exits the building, Young Min is standing beside the passenger door, and the look on his face makes her steps falter. He is starring again, but this time he does not look away or blush. He just stares like he has forgotten how to do anything else. "You look beautiful," he says quietly. "I mean, you always look beautiful, but tonight especially. I should have said that first before starring. Sorry. I mean, not sorry for thinking it, sorry for starring without speaking, which is creepy, and I promise not to be creepy." "Young Min," Brenda interrupts, fighting a smile. "Breathe." He takes a visible breath and offers a sheepish grin. "This is going well." "It's going fine. Are you going to open the door or should I do it myself?" Young Min snaps into action, opening the passenger door with an almost comical flourish. Once Brenda is settled, he rounds the car and slides into the driver's seat. He is wearing a charcoal suit that fits him perfectly, his hair styled back from his face, and he smells like cedar and something crisp she cannot identify. They pull into traffic, heading toward the Bay Bridge and San Francisco beyond. "So tell me what I need to know," Brenda says. "Who's going to be there? What should I expect?" Young Min's hands tighten slightly on the steering wheel. "3 business partners from Seoul, all older than me. They will have their wives. My business here depends on maintaining good relationships with them, especially Park Jae-hoon, who controls most of the export licenses I need." "What's the story we're telling? How did we meet?" "We can stay close to truth. You worked for me, we got to know each other, started seeing each other casually. They will probably ask intrusive questions. You do not have to answer anything you are not comfortable with." Brenda watches his profile as he drives, nodding the tension in his jaw. "You're nervous." "Terrified," he admits. "These men knew my father. They have expectations about who I should be, how I should live. I have disappointed them by choosing to stay in America, by building legitimate business instead of." He trails off. "Instead of what?" Young Min is quiet for a long moment. "My family business in Korea is complicated. My father and older brother handle operations I want nothing to do with. That is why I came to California, to build something clean. But these men, they still see me as my father's son. They think I am playing at being legitimate businessman." There is pain in his voice, and shame, and Brenda reaches over to touch his hand lightly. He startles at the contact, then turns his hand palm up, letting her fingers rest against his. "You're not your father," she says. "Anyone who actually knows you can see that." "You barely know me," Young Min points out, but he is smiling slightly. "I know enough." They drive the rest of the way in comfortable silence, hands still loosely connected. Brenda knows she should pull away, maintain professional distance, but his hand is warm and solid, and she does not want to let go yet. The restaurant is in Presidio Heights, an area of San Francisco where old money lives in Victorian mansions and new tech wealth tries to buy its way in. The building is understated from the outside, which Brenda has learned means it is extremely expensive. Young Min hands his keys to the valet and comes around to offer Brenda his arm. "Ready." "As I'll ever be." Inside, the restaurant is all dark wood and soft lighting, the kind of place where conversations are murmured and bills are never shown. A host leads them to a private room in the back, where 3 older Korean men and their wives are already seated around a large table. The conversations stop when Brenda and Young Min enter. Brenda can feel the weight of their stares, the calculation in their eyes as they take in her brown skin, her modest dress, her clear status as someone who does not belong in their world. Young Min's hand finds the small of her back, steady and reassuring. He greets the men in Korean, bowing respectfully, then switches to English for Brenda's benefit. "Everyone, this is Brenda Morrison. Brenda, these are my business partners and their wives." The introductions are polite but cool. Brenda shakes hands and smiles and tries not to feel like a bug under a microscope. They take their seats, Young Min pulling out Brenda's chair before sitting beside her. Dinner starts with small talk, business updates, discussions of shipping routes and port regulations that mostly go over Brenda's head. Young Min stays close, his hand occasionally finding hers under the table, squeezing gently when the conversation turns tense. Then Park Jae-hoon, the oldest and clearly most senior of the partners, addresses Brenda directly. "So, Miss Morrison, what do you do?" It is a loaded question. She can tell from the way the table goes quiet, waiting. I'm working on my teaching certification, Brenda says, which is true, even if she is only taking one online class at a time because it is all she can afford. Elementary education. And you met young Min how? Young Min starts to answer, but Brenda touches his arm. I was working in his home. We got to know each other over time. She sees no point in hiding it. These people have probably already done background checks on her anyway. Park Jae-hoon exchanges glances with the other men, and one of them says something in Korean that makes the others chuckle. It is not a kind sound. Young Min goes very still beside her. English, please, he says quietly, but there is steel underneath the politeness. Out of respect for Brenda. Park Jae-hoon waves a dismissive hand. I simply said it is interesting that you bring your maid as a date. Very progressive of you. The condescension drips from every word. Brenda feels her face heat, but before she can respond, Young Min stands. If you cannot show basic respect to my guest, then this dinner is over. His voice is cold, cutting, nothing like the gentle man she has come to know. Brenda is here because I value her company and her character, which is more than I can say for men who think their money gives them the right to be cruel. Park Jae-hoon's expression darkens. Sit down, Young Min, you are being dramatic. No, I am being clear. Young Min switches to Korean, and though Brenda cannot understand the words, she understands the tone. Absolute. Final. The other men's faces go pale as Young Min speaks, his words precise and cutting. When he finishes, Park Jae-hoon looks like he has been slapped. Young Min turns to Brenda and offers his hand. We are leaving. Brenda takes it, standing on shaking legs. Young Min guides her out of the private room, through the restaurant, past the shocked host, and out into the cool San Francisco evening. The valet scrambles to get their car. They wait in silence, Young Min's jaw tight, his hand still holding hers firmly. What did you say to them? Brenda asks quietly. That I am withdrawing from our partnership effective immediately. That they can find someone else to manage their West Coast operations. And that Park Jae-hoon just lost access to the Port of Oakland contracts I spent 2 years securing. Brenda's eyes widen. Young Min, that's your business. You can't just... I can and I did. He turns to her, and his eyes are blazing. I will not allow anyone to disrespect you. Not for business, not for money, not for anything. Those contracts are worth millions, but they are not worth your dignity. The valet pulls up with their SUV. Young Min opens Brenda's door, waits for her to get in, then rounds to the driver's side. He does not start the engine right away, just sits there gripping the steering wheel. I am sorry, he says finally. I should have known they would be like that. I should have protected you better. You protected me fine, more than fine. Brenda reaches over and gently pries one of his hands off the steering wheel, lacing their fingers together. But you just walked away from millions of dollars. For me, you barely know me. Young Min turns to look at her, really look at her, and the intensity in his gaze steals her breath. I know you make me want to be braver than I am. I know that when you walk into a room, everything else becomes background noise. I know that the idea of anyone making you feel small or less than makes me angrier than any business deal ever could. He lifts their joined hands and presses his lips softly to her knuckles. Maybe I do not know everything about you yet. But I know enough to know that you are worth more than any contract. Brenda's heart is hammering so hard she can barely breathe. This is not just business anymore, not just a job or a transaction. This is something real and terrifying and completely unexpected. Take me home, she whispers, and something in Young Min's expression shifts. Brenda. No, I mean, take me home so we can talk, really talk, because I think we need to figure out what this is. Young Min nods slowly and starts the engine. They drive back across the Bay Bridge in charged silence, the city lights glittering around them like fallen stars. When they reach Brenda's apartment building, Young Min parks but makes no move to leave. He reaches into his jacket and pulls out an envelope, offering it to her. 10,000, he says quietly. Double what I promised, for your time and for having to endure those men's disrespect. Brenda takes the envelope, feels the weight of it. This money would change everything for her, but taking it feels wrong now, like reducing something precious to a transaction. I can't take this. Brenda. Not for tonight, not for this. She sets the envelope on the dashboard. If you want to help me, if you really care, then help me because you want to, not because you're paying me. But tonight wasn't a job. Tonight was. She struggles for words. Tonight was me realizing I am falling for you, Youngmin finishes quietly, and being terrified because I do not know how to do this. I do not know how to be good at this part of life. Brenda unbuckles her seatbelt and shifts to face him fully. I don't know either. I've spent 6 years being invisible, and now you look at me like I'm the only person in the world, and it's overwhelming and wonderful and scary. So what do? We try, we figure it out as we go. She reaches out and cups his face, feeling him lean into her touch. But no more paying me. If we're doing this, we're doing it as equals. Understood. Youngmin nods, turning his head to press a kiss to her palm. Understood, but please let me at least help with your teaching certification. Not as payment, but as investment in your future. Our future, maybe. The hope in his voice breaks something open in Brenda's chest. Okay, but I'm keeping receipts and paying you back someday. Deal. They sit there in the car, facing each other, the air between them crackling with possibility. Youngmin reaches up to tuck a strand of hair behind Brenda's ear, his touch feather-light and reverent. Can I kiss you? He asks, and the fact that he asks that he would never assume makes Brenda's decision easy. Yes. He leans in slowly, giving her every opportunity to change her mind. When his lips finally meet hers, it is soft and sweet and perfect. Youngmin kisses like he does everything else with her, careful and attentive and completely focused on her response. Brenda's hands slide into his hair, pulling him closer, and Youngmin makes a soft sound against her mouth that sends warmth flooding through her entire body. The kiss deepens, growing more confident, and for a few perfect moments, nothing else exists but this connection, this rightness. When they finally pull apart, both breathing hard, Youngmin rests his forehead against hers. I am definitely falling, he whispers. Me too, Brenda admits. Me too. The morning after the disastrous dinner, Brenda wakes up to 17 missed calls from Mrs. Choi and a text from Youngmin. Please come to Penthouse when you can. We need to talk. Her stomach drops. In the clear light of day, last night feels like a fever dream. Did she really kiss her employer? Did he really walk away from millions of dollars in contracts for her? Brenda calls Mrs. Choi first. The older woman answers on the first ring. Thank God. Are you okay? Mr. Kang has been packing his office since 5 in the morning. I'm fine. What's going on? Just come in, he needs to see you. Mrs. Choi pauses. And Brenda. Whatever happened last night, I have never seen him like this. Rattled, yes, but also more alive than I have seen in years. Brenda drives to Atherton with her heart in her throat. She has no idea what she is walking into, but she knows her life changed fundamentally last night. Mrs. Choi meets her at the door, looking her over with shrewd eyes. You kissed him. It is not a question. Brenda feels her face heat. How did you? He has the same look my husband had when we first fell in love, dazed and terrified and completely gone. Mrs. Choi smiles. He is in his office. Go, talk, and Brenda, do not let fear make your decisions. That man in there is worth the risk. Brenda finds Youngmin exactly where Mrs. Choi said, packing in front of the floor-to-ceiling windows of his office. He is wearing jeans and a simple t-shirt, his hair unstyled, and he looks younger and more vulnerable than she has ever seen him. He turns when she enters, and relief floods his face. You came. You said we needed to talk. I'm here. Youngmin runs a hand through his hair, making it stand up in different directions. I could not sleep. I kept thinking about last night, about the kiss, about walking away from Park Jae-hoon and the others, and I realized I owe you honesty, complete honesty. Okay. Brenda sits in one of the leather chairs facing his desk. I'm listening. Youngmin stays standing, like he has too much nervous energy to sit. My family in Seoul, they are not good people. My father built his empire on things I do not want to be part of. Shipping, yes, but also moving items that should not be moved, taking payments that should not be taken. When I turned 25, I told him I wanted out. I wanted to build something legitimate, something I could be proud of. He pauses, looking out at the bay in the distance. He said if I left with nothing. No money, no connections, no family support. So I came to California with what I had saved and started over. It took 5 years to build what I have now, and it is all clean. Legal. Every contract, every deal, every dollar earned through hard work and fair business. That's incredible, Brenda says softly. But it means I am always proving myself, always trying to show I am not my father's son, that I am different. Last night with those men, they were testing me, seeing if I had my father's ruthlessness, if I would prioritize business over everything else like he does. Youngmin finally turns to face her. I failed their test. I chose you over business, and I would make that choice again every single time. Brenda stands and crosses to him. That's not failing, that's being a good person. Those contracts I walked away from, they were important. I will lose money, have to restructure some operations. It will be difficult for a while. Will you be okay, financially? Yes, I have enough saved, and enough other contracts to keep business running. It will be tighter, but I will be fine. He takes her hands in his. I need you to understand what being with me means. It means dealing with my complicated family. It means facing judgment from people in my business circles who will not approve. It means I am still learning how to be good at relationships because I have spent 5 years avoiding them. Why did you avoid them? Young Min's ears turn red. Because I did not want to bring someone into my messy life, and because no one made me want to try until you. Brenda squeezes his hands. I have messy parts too. Student loans I can't pay off. A mother who needs help I can't always provide. A teaching dream I had to put on hold because life got in the way. And I'm probably going to be awkward about dating someone like you because I've never even been in the same zip code as this kind of wealth. Someone like me. Rich, powerful, out of my league in every possible way. Youngmin shakes his head firmly. You are not understanding. You are completely out of my league. You are kind and genuine and brave. You work 3 jobs to help your family. You sing when you think no one is listening. You make me feel like I am enough just as I am, not because of what I can provide or what name I carry. He lifts one of her hands to his lips. So please, do not think you are less than me in any way. Brenda feels tears prick her eyes. We're really doing this, dating, even though I was your employee. You were never just an employee. And yes, if you are willing to try, I want to do this properly. Dinner dates, getting to know each other, moving at whatever pace feels right for you. I want everything with you, but I want to earn it. Okay, Brenda says, smiling through the emotion clogging her throat. Let's try. Youngmin's answering smile is brilliant. Can I take you to dinner tonight? Somewhere small and quiet where we can just talk. I'd like that. He pulls her into a hug, and Brenda relaxes into his warmth. She can feel his heart hammering against her cheek, as nervous and excited as her own. Over the next few weeks, they fall into a rhythm. Youngmin takes Brenda to small Korean restaurants in San Jose, where he teaches her about the food he grew up with. She takes him to her favorite soul food place in Oakland, laughing at his attempt to handle her grandmother's famous hot sauce. They go to movies and walk along the bay and talk for hours about everything and nothing. Brenda stops working as Youngmin's maid, a mutual decision that feels necessary to keep their relationship on equal footing. Instead, Youngmin insists on funding her teaching certification program, and after initial resistance, Brenda accepts. Not as payment, but as an investment from someone who believes in her dreams. Youngmin's penthouse becomes a second home. Mrs. Choi clearly approves of their relationship, often leaving the house for errands that give them privacy. Youngmin cooks for Brenda, Korean dishes his grandmother taught him, and she teaches him how to make her mother's famous peach cobbler. They learn each other slowly, carefully. Brenda discovers that Youngmin talks in his sleep, muttering in Korean about shipping manifests and contract negotiations. Youngmin learns that Brenda needs coffee before conversation in the mornings, and that she stress bakes when her teaching assignments get overwhelming. The physical side of their relationship develops naturally. Kisses that start sweet and turn heated. Youngmin's hands learning the curve of her waist, her back, her shoulders. Brenda's fingers tracing the strong line of his jaw, threading through his hair. They take it slow, both aware that rushing would change something precious. But challenges emerge. When they attend a shipping industry event in Palo Alto, Brenda faces cold stares and barely concealed hostility from some of Young Min's business associates. Comments about her background, her race, her luck at landing such a wealthy boyfriend cut deep. Young Min handles each slight with ice-cold professionalism, making it clear that disrespecting Brenda means losing his business. But Brenda can see the toll it takes on him, the way he shoulders the responsibility of protecting her while maintaining his professional reputation. Her own family has mixed reactions when she finally introduces Young Min. Her mother, Carol, is cautiously welcoming, but worried about the vast difference in their backgrounds. Her younger brother, Devin, is openly suspicious of Young Min's intentions. "Men like that don't date women like us without an agenda," Devin says bluntly over dinner at Carol's small house in Oakland. Young Min, to his credit, does not get defensive. "You are right to be protective of your sister. If I were you, I would not trust me either. All I can tell you is that Brenda makes me want to be better than I am, and I will spend as long as it takes proving I am worthy of her." The sincerity in his voice seems to soften Devin slightly, though the suspicion does not entirely fade. 3 months into their relationship, Brenda is studying for her certification exam at Young Min's penthouse when she finds him in his office, staring at his computer screen with an expression she has never seen before. Defeated. Lost. "What's wrong?" she asks from the doorway. Young Min looks up, and she can see the exhaustion etched into every line of his face. "My brother is coming from Seoul, Sung-ho. He arrives tomorrow." The way he says the name carries weight, history, pain. Is that bad? Sung-ho is everything I am not. Ruthless, ambitious, willing to do whatever it takes to expand the family business. My father sent him to bring me back to Seoul to take over operations there. Young Min's hands clench into fists. There is also an arranged marriage they have been planning, a daughter of one of my father's business allies. Very traditional, very advantageous for the family business. Brenda's stomach drops. An arranged marriage. I have refused for 2 years, but my father is getting impatient. Sung-ho's visit is meant to pressure me, to remind me of my family obligations. Young Min stands and crosses to her. "I need you to know that I have no intention of going along with it. I want to be with you, only you, but the next few days will be difficult." Brenda nods, trying to process. "What do you need from me?" "Patience, and trust that I will handle this, no matter what Sung-ho says or does." She takes his face in her hands. "I trust you." Young Min kisses her, deep and desperate, like he is trying to memorize the feel of her. When they part, his eyes are dark with emotion. "I will not lose you," he says fiercely. "Not to my family's expectations, not to anyone." But the next day, when Sung-ho arrives with his entourage and his demands, Brenda realizes that keeping that promise might be harder than either of them anticipated. Brenda does not meet Sung-ho the day he arrives. Young Min asks her to stay away from the penthouse, explaining that his brother is volatile and he wants to handle the initial confrontation alone. She agrees reluctantly, spending the day anxiously checking her phone for updates. The text finally comes at 8 in the evening. "He knows about you. It did not go well. Can I come to your place?" 20 minutes later, Young Min arrives at her apartment looking like he has aged 10 years. There is a bruise forming on his left cheekbone, and his knuckles are scraped raw. "What happened?" Brenda pulls him inside, guiding him to her small couch. "Sung-ho has strong opinions about me dadding outside our culture. He expressed them physically. I expressed my disagreement the same way." Young Min winces as Brenda touches the bruise gently. "You should see him." "This isn't funny." "I know, I am sorry." He catches her hand, pressing it to his uninjured cheek. Sung-ho is staying at the penthouse for the next week. He has meetings scheduled with my business partners, my investors, everyone important to my operations here. He is trying to undermine me, to show my father that I have gone soft, that I am not fit to run any part of the family business. What does he want? For me to come back to Seoul, marry the woman they chose, take my place in the family operations, and to end things with you immediately. Brenda pulls her hand back, standing and packing to her small kitchen. Maybe you should consider it. What? Youngmin stands, genuine shock on his face. Not the marriage or soul, but taking a step back from us. Just until your brother leaves, until things calm down. I don't want to be the reason you lose everything you've built. Brenda, no. Listen to me. Your brother is here to make your life hell, and I'm giving him ammunition just by existing. If we took a break, just temporarily, it would take away his biggest weapon against you. Youngmin crosses the small space between them in 2 strides, taking her shoulders gently. Do you hear what you are suggesting? That I should choose my business, my family's approval over you. That is exactly what my father would do. That is what Sung-ho expects me to do. And that is precisely why I will not do it. But, no, I have spent 5 years building a life that is mine, making choices I can be proud of. The most important choice I have made in all that time is you. I will not abandon that because my brother shows up with threats and expectations. His hands slide from her shoulders to cup her face. I need you to trust me. Can you do that? Brenda searches his eyes and sees absolute certainty there. Okay, I trust you. The next few days are tense. Brenda does not go to the penthouse, but Youngmin comes to her apartment every night, often late, always exhausted. Sung-ho is systematically meeting with every business contact Youngmin has, sowing seeds of doubt about his leadership and commitment. He is telling them I am distracted by a woman, that I am losing my edge, Youngmin explains one night, slumped on Brenda's couch with his tie loosened and his shirt wrinkled. Some of them are listening. I can feel support shifting. What if you introduced me to him? Brenda suggests. What if he met me and saw that I'm not some distraction, that we're serious? Youngmin considers this, then shakes his head. He will be cruel. I do not want to subject you to that. I can handle cruel. I've been handling it my whole life. But maybe if he sees I'm not going anywhere, he'll back off. Or he will get worse. Then he gets worse, but at least we'll know we tried everything. Youngmin studies her for a long moment, then nods slowly. Okay, I will set up dinner, tomorrow night. But Brenda, you need to prepare yourself. Sung-ho is not like the business partners at that first dinner. He knows exactly how to find weaknesses and exploit them. I'm stronger than I look. I know you are. That is one of the things I love about you. The word love hangs between them. Neither has said it explicitly yet, though it has been hovering at the edges of their conversations for weeks. Youngmin's eyes widen slightly, like he did not mean to let it slip. Brenda smiles and kisses him softly. I love you too, even though you're a mess and your family is complicated and this might all blow up in our faces. Youngmin's answering smile is brilliant despite his exhaustion. We are quite a pair. The best pair. The next night, Brenda dresses carefully for dinner at the penthouse. She chooses a simple black dress, elegant but not trying too hard. When she arrives, Mrs. Choi greets her at the door with a worried expression. Mr. Sung-ho is in rare form tonight. Be careful. I will be. Youngmin meets her in the foyer, looking devastating in a dark suit. He takes both her hands and kisses each one. Last chance to back out. Not happening. He leads her to the dining room, where a man who looks like a harder, colder version of Youngmin sits at the head of the table. Sung-ho is older, his features sharper, his eyes calculating as they track Brenda's entrance. He does not stand, does not greet her, just watches like a predator assessing prey. So you are the maid my little brother is ruining his life for, Sung-ho says in perfect English, his accent barely noticeable. And you're the brother who thinks violence and intimidation are appropriate business tactics, Brenda replies evenly, nodding Youngmin's bruised cheek. We all have our flaws. Something flickers in Sung-ho's eyes, surprise, maybe, or respect. You have spine, that is good, you will need it. Dinner is served, and the meal begins. Sung-ho spends the first course making small talk that feels like reconnaissance, asking Brenda about her background, her education, her family. She answers honestly, not trying to pretend she is anything other than what she is. Then Sung-ho shifts tactics. Tell me, Brenda, what is your plan here? How long do you think this fantasy lasts? It's not a fantasy. We're in a relationship like millions of other people. But you are not like millions of other people. You are a poor American woman dating a man from a very specific world. A world with rules and expectations you cannot possibly understand. Sung-ho leans forward. My brother thinks he can play at being normal, at having normal life with normal girlfriend. But his responsibilities will catch up to him eventually. And when they do, where does that leave you? With someone I love who loves me back, that's enough. Is it? Is it enough when he has to return to Seoul for months at a time to handle family business? Is it enough when he has to attend events where you will never fit in? Is it enough when everyone in his world looks at you and sees only what you are not? Each question lands like a punch. Brenda feels Young Min tense beside her, but she puts a hand on his arm, stopping him from intervening. You're right that I don't fit in his world, Brenda says calmly. But he doesn't fit in mine either. We're building something new, something that belongs to both of us. And yeah, it's going to be hard. People are going to judge us. But we're doing it anyway because what we have is worth fighting for. Sung-ho sits back, reassessing. You actually believe that? I do. Then you are naive. Love does not conquer all, especially not when there are billions of dollars and family legacy at stake. He turns to Young Min. She is brave, I will give her that. But bravery does not change reality. Father expects you in Seoul next month for the engagement ceremony. If you do not come, he will cut you off completely. No more family money, no more business connections, no more safety net. Young Min's hand finds Brenda's under the table, squeezing tight. I do not need his money or his connections. I built what I have here through my own work. And you think you can keep building when Father actively works against you? When he uses his influence to destroy your contracts, your partnerships, your reputation. Sung-ho's smile is cold. You are good at business, little brother, but you are not good enough to stand against the full weight of our family when we decide to crush you. The threat hangs in the air. Brenda feels Young Min trembling with suppressed anger beside her. Do what you have to do, Young Min says quietly. I am not going back to Seoul. I am not marrying someone I do not love. And I am not giving up Brenda. Then you are a fool. Sung-ho stands, tossing his napkin on the table. I will stay the rest of the week as planned. I will complete my meetings with your business partners, and I will return to Seoul to inform Father that his younger son has chosen a woman over his family legacy. He looks at Brenda. I hope you are worth what he is about to lose. Sung-ho leaves the dining room. Brenda and Young Min sit in silence for a long moment. That went well, Brenda finally says, and Young Min lets out a startled laugh that sounds close to tears. He is going to make my life hell. Then we'll handle hell together. Brenda turns to face him fully. But Young Min, you need to be sure, really sure, because I can't be the reason you lose your family. You are not the reason. Their expectations and their inability to accept my choices are the reason. He pulls her close, resting his forehead against hers. I choose you. Every time I choose you. Brenda kisses him, pouring all her fear and love and determination into it. When they part, they are both breathing hard. What happens now? She asks. Now we prepare for war, because Sung-ho does not bluff, and neither does my father. True to his word, Sung-ho spends the rest of the week systematically dismantling Young Min's business relationships. He meets with investors, suggesting that Young Min is unreliable and distracted. He speaks with business partners, hinting that the family might pull support from Young Min's operations. He even approaches some of Young Min's employees, offering them positions with the Seoul office if they are willing to leave. Young Min fights back, working 18-hour days to shore up relationships and reassure partners. But Brenda can see the toll it takes. He loses weight, dark circles appearing under his eyes. Some nights he does not come to her apartment at all, just sends texts from his office saying he is too buried in work. Brenda tries to help, but there is little she can do. She completes her teaching certification modules and applies for positions at schools throughout the Bay Area. She spends time with her mother, preparing her for the possibility that things with Young Min might get worse before they get better. Are you sure about this boy? Carol asks one afternoon as they sit on her small back porch in Oakland. He comes with a lot of complications. I'm sure about him. The complications are just part of the package. Baby, I just don't want to see you hurt. Men with that kind of money, they play by different rules. Young Min doesn't. That's what I love about him. Carol studies her daughter, then sighs. I can see you mean it. Your eyes light up when you talk about him, just like mine did when I met your father. She takes Brenda's hand. Then you hold on tight. Real love is rare enough that when you find it, you fight for it. Even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. That's when it matters most. On Friday, Sung-ho's last night in California, he requests one final meeting with Young Min this time. He does not object when Young Min asks Brenda to be present. They meet at a private lounge in San Francisco, the kind of place where wealthy people make deals away from public eyes. Sung-ho is already there when they arrive, drinking whiskey and looking infuriatingly relaxed. Sit, he says, gesturing to the chairs across from him. We need to discuss your future. I think I have made my future very clear, Young Min replies, but he sits, pulling Brenda down beside him. Yes, you have chosen romance over responsibility. Very American of you. Sung-ho signals the waiter for another drink. But I am not here to argue. I am here to present Father's final offer. I am listening. You can keep your American business. Keep your penthouse, your employees, your shipping contracts. Father will not interfere, will not use his influence against you. Sung-ho pauses. But you must come to Seoul 3 months out of every year to fulfill family obligations. You must attend the engagement ceremony next month, though you can decline the marriage afterward if you insist on being foolish. And you must end your relationship with Brenda Morrison. The words land like stones in still water. Brenda feels Young Min go rigid beside her. No, he says simply. You did not let me finish. If you refuse these terms, Father will destroy everything you have built here. Your contracts will mysteriously fall through. Your investors will suddenly find better opportunities. Your employees will receive offers they cannot refuse. Within 6 months, you will have nothing. Sung-ho leans forward. Father is giving you a choice. Keep your business or keep your girlfriend, but you cannot have both. That is not a choice. That is extortion. Call it what you like. Those are the terms. Sung-ho's eyes flick to Brenda. Unless she wants to make this easy and leave on her own. Don't look at her, look at me. Young Min's voice is steel. Brenda is not going anywhere, and neither am I. Tell Father he can do his worst. I will survive it. Will you? Sung-ho pulls out his phone and swipes through several screens, then turns it to face them. I had my team analyze your finances. You have maybe 8 months of operating capital if Father cuts off all your contracts simultaneously. After that, you will have to start liquidating assets, selling property, laying off employees who depend on you. He swipes again. Mrs. Choi has worked for our family for 20 years. Do you fire her when you can no longer afford to pay her? What about your warehouse staff in Oakland, the ones with families to support? Young Min's jaw clenches. Brenda can see him doing the calculations, weighing the costs. This is not just about you anymore, Sung-ho continues. It is about everyone who depends on you. Can you really be selfish enough to destroy their livelihoods for a relationship? Stop, Brenda says quietly. Both brothers look at her. Stop trying to manipulate him with guilt. If you're going to threaten people, at least be honest about what you're doing. I am being honest. These are the consequences of his choices. No, these are the consequences of your father's choices. Your family's choices. You're the ones deciding to destroy his business to hurt innocent people. Don't try to put that on Young Min. Sung-ho regards her with something that might be respect. You are right, of course, but it does not change the outcome. He finishes his drink and stands. You have until I land in Seoul tomorrow to make your decision. After that, the offer expires and Father begins dismantling your American operations. He leaves without another word. Brenda and Young Min sit in silence, the weight of the ultimatum crushing down on them. What are you going to do? Brenda finally asks. Young Min does not answer immediately. He signals the waiter for a drink, downs it in one swallow, then turns to face her. I need you to understand something. Whatever I choose, it is my choice. Not yours, not my family's, mine. Young Min, let me finish. If I choose to meet some of Father's demands to protect my employees and business, it will not be because I do not love you. It will be because I have responsibilities to people who depend on me. But I will never, never end things with you. That is non-negotiable. Brenda feels tears prick her eyes. You can't destroy people's lives for me. I am not. My father is, but I can minimize the damage he does. Youngmin takes her hands. What if I agree to attend the soul ceremony and to spend some time there each year? That keeps father happy enough that he leaves my business alone. But I make it clear I am not accepting the arranged marriage and that you are a permanent part of my life. Your family will hate that. My family already hates most of my choices. One more will not make much difference. But being apart 3 months a year will be hard, will test us, but I think we are strong enough to survive it. He cups her face gently. Unless you do not want to try, if this is too much, if my family and their drama are more than you signed up for, I will understand. Brenda thinks about walking away. It would be easier, cleaner. She could finish her teaching certification, find a nice, uncomplicated man, live a simple life without billion-dollar ultimatums and international family drama. But the thought of losing Youngmin makes her chest ache. I'm not going anywhere, she says firmly. If you can handle 3 months in Seoul, I can handle 3 months missing you. We'll make it work. The relief on Youngmin's face is profound. He pulls her into his arms, holding her so tight she can barely breathe. I love you, he whispers against her hair. I love you so much it terrifies me. I love you too, even though you come with the most complicated family in the world. They stay like that for a long time, holding each other in the empty lounge, preparing for a battle neither wanted, but both are determined to win. When they finally leave, Youngmin makes 2 phone calls. The first is to Sung-ho, agreeing to attend the Seoul ceremony and to spend time there each year as required. The second is to his father, making it crystal clear that these concessions do not include ending his relationship with Brenda Morrison. His father's response, according to Youngmin, is a string of Korean curses followed by grudging acceptance. It is not a victory, but it is a start. The next week passes in a blur of preparation. Youngmin has to fly to Seoul in 10 days for the engagement ceremony, though he has made it clear to everyone that he is only attending, not participating. Brenda throws herself into her teaching applications, landing an interview at an elementary school in Menlo Park. Mrs. Choi, who has been a quiet but constant support, sits Brenda down one afternoon with tea and advice. The Kang family is not known for accepting defeat gracefully, she says. They will push and test and look for any weakness. You must be very sure of yourself and of Youngmin. I am sure. Good, because what Youngmin did, standing up to his father like that, is unprecedented. No one in the family has ever successfully defied the old man before. Mrs. Choi smiles slightly. You must be very special for him to take such a risk. I think he's the special one. You are both special in your own ways, and you are good for each other. I have never seen him so happy as he has been these past months. The days before Youngmin's departure to Seoul are bittersweet. They spend every possible moment together, talking late into the night, making love slowly and tenderly, memorizing each other in case the separation is harder than they anticipate. On his last night in California, Youngmin cooks Brenda dinner at the penthouse. He has sent Mrs. Choi and the rest of the staff home, wanting complete privacy. I have something for you, he says as they finish eating. He pulls a small box from his pocket and Brenda's heart stops. Youngmin, if that's a ring. It is not yet. We are not ready for that conversation. He opens the box to reveal a delicate gold necklace with a small pendant shaped like a ship. So you remember that I am always sailing back to you. Brenda's eyes fill with tears as he fastens the necklace around her neck. It's perfect. I will call every day, video chat when the time difference is not impossible, and I will be back in 6 weeks. This first trip is the longest. After that, I can structure my sole time in shorter increments. I'll be fine. I have job interviews and my certification to finish, and my mom needs help with her house. I'll stay busy. Promise me something. Youngmin takes her hands. If my family contacts you while I am gone, if they try to pressure you or bribe you or threaten you, you tell me immediately. You think they'll try? I know they will. My father does not give up easily, and Sung-ho enjoys psychological warfare. They will see you as the weak point, the way to get to me. I'm not weak. I know you are not, but promise me anyway. I promise. They make love that night with desperate intensity, both trying to memorize every touch, every sound, every sensation. When Brenda wakes in the morning, young Min is already dressed, his suitcase by the door. The drive to the airport is silent. There is too much to say and no words adequate to say it. At the departure gate, young Min holds her so tight her ribs ache. 6 weeks, he whispers. I will be home in 6 weeks. I'll be here. He kisses her one last time, then forces himself to let go. Brenda watches him walk through security, turning back to wave until he disappears from view. She drives home crying, already missing him so much it feels physical. True to his word, young Min calls that night from Seoul. Then the next night and the next. They video chat when they can, the time difference making it difficult but not impossible. Young Min tells her about the ceremony, about his father's cold disapproval and his mother's silent disappointment, about Sung-ho's continued needling and the woman he was supposed to marry, who seems relieved that he declined. She has someone else she loves, young Min explains. Our families were pushing the match for business reasons, but neither of us wanted it. We actually had a good conversation about standing up to family expectations. I'm glad you found an ally. Me too, but I miss you so much it hurts. I miss you too, but we can do this. 5 more weeks. Brenda gets the teaching job in Menlo Park, starting in the fall. She spends her days preparing for the position and her evenings talking with young Min. Her mother and brother see how hard she is working to make the relationship succeed and become more supportive. But then, 3 weeks into young Min's absence, Brenda receives a visitor. She is home on a Thursday afternoon when someone knocks on her apartment door. She opens it to find an elegant Korean woman in her 60s, dressed in expensive clothes and carrying herself with unmistakable authority. Brenda Morrison, the woman asks in accented but clear English. Yes. I am Kim Yeon-hee, young Min's mother. May I come in? Brenda's stomach drops, but she steps aside. Yeon-hee enters the modest apartment, her eyes taking in every detail with the sharp assessment of someone used to evaluating worth. Can I get you something to drink? Brenda asks, falling back on basic hospitality. Tea, if you have it. Brenda prepares tea with shaking hands, hyper-aware of Yeon-hee watching her every move. When she brings the cups to her small living room, Yeon-hee has settled on the couch like it is a throne. You are wondering why I am here, Yeon-hee says. The thought crossed my mind. I wanted to meet the woman my son is willing to destroy his life for. She sips her tea. You are not what I expected. What did you expect? Someone more obviously ambitious, someone using my son for his money. But you are not that, are you? No, ma'am. Please call me Yeon-hee. We are not formal here. She sets down her cup. I will be direct. My husband wants me to pay you to leave young Min. He has authorized me to offer you $1 million to end the relationship and disappear from my son's life. Brenda's hands go numb. $1 million. That is life-changing money. That is never worry about bills again money. That is her mother's dream retirement and her brother's college education and her own financial freedom. What did you tell him? Brenda asks carefully. I told him I would present the offer. I did not tell him what I personally think. Yeon-hee leans forward. Do you know why I flew to California instead of just having lawyers handle this? No. Because I wanted to see for myself if my son's love is real, or if he is simply being stubborn and rebellious. She reaches out and touches the ship pendant at Brenda's throat. He gave you this. Yes, before he left for Seoul. It was his grandfather's, my father's. A man young Min loved very much. He would not give this lightly. Yeon-hee sits back. I have been married to young Min's father for 40 years. It was arranged like most marriages in our world. I learned to respect him, to work with him, even to care for him in my way. But I have never loved him, not the way you clearly love my son. Brenda does not know what to say to that. My husband thinks money solves everything, that everyone has a price, and he is usually right. Yeon-hee meets Brenda's eyes directly. But I do not think you can be bought. I think you genuinely love young Min, and he genuinely loves you. And as a mother who wants her son to be happy, I find I cannot bring myself to destroy that. So you're not offering me the money? Oh, I am offering it, because I promised my husband I would. But I am also telling you that if you take it, you will break my son's heart in a way it may never heal. And that would break my heart too. She stands, preparing to leave. Think about it. The offer is real, and it will remain open for 1 week. After that, my husband will try other tactics, ones I may not be able to protect you from. At the door, Yonhee pauses. For what it is worth, I see why he loves you. You have strength that does not need to announce itself. That is rare and valuable. She bows slightly. Whatever you decide, I hope you will be kind to him. He has had so little kindness in his life. Then she is gone, leaving Brenda staring at the closed door, her world tilted on its axis. $1 million. Her phone rings. It is Young Min's nightly call. Brenda stares at it for a long moment, then answers. Hey, she says, trying to sound normal. Hey yourself, how was your day? Brenda looks around her tiny apartment, thinks about her mother's leaking roof and her student loans, and all the things that money could fix. Then she thinks about Young Min's smile, the way he blushes when he looks at her, the feeling of being truly seen for the first time in her life. It was interesting, she says. I have a story to tell you. And she tells him everything. Young Min's rage is cold and absolute. Brenda can hear it in the carefully controlled tone of his voice as she finishes explaining his mother's visit. I am sorry, he says when she is done. I told you they would come after you, but I did not think my own mother would deliver the bribe personally. She wasn't cruel about it. Actually, I think she was trying to be kind in her way. That does not make it acceptable. Young Min pauses. You told her no, yes. You are not considering the money. Young Min. Brenda, please. Tell me you are not thinking about taking it. I won't lie and say it didn't tempt me. That's a lot of money. That's my mother's security and my brother's future and everything I've been struggling for. She touches the ship pendant at her throat. But it's not worth losing you. Nothing is worth that. She hears Young Min exhale, long and shaky. I am getting on a plane tomorrow. I will tell my father something came up with the business, but I need to be there with you. No, you have 2 more weeks of meetings in Seoul. If you leave early, your father will know exactly why, and it'll make everything worse. I do not care. I care. We agreed to handle this separation, to prove we're strong enough. Running back because your mother tried to bribe me isn't proving anything except that they can manipulate us. Young Min is quiet for a long moment. You are right. I hate that you are right, but you are right. Besides, I'm fine. Actually, I think your mother and I understood each other by the end. She loves you, even if she shows it in weird ways. My family is very good at loving in weird ways. He sighs. 3 more weeks. I can survive 3 more weeks. And then I am coming home and we are going to have a serious conversation about our future. What kind of conversation? The kind where I ask you to move in with me. The kind where we stop pretending this is casual and start building something permanent. Brenda's heart races. That's a big step. I know, which is why we will discuss it properly when I am home, not over a phone call at 3 in the morning my time. She can hear the smile in his voice. But I want you to think about it, about what you want our future to look like. I will, I promise. The next 3 weeks pass more quickly than the first 3. Brenda keeps busy with her new teaching job preparation, attending orientation sessions, and setting up her classroom. Young Min finishes his Seoul obligations and books his return flight, counting down the days in their nightly calls. His mother calls once more, just to confirm that Brenda has definitively declined the money. When Brenda says yes, Yonhee simply says, good, I will handle my husband. Then adds, take care of my son, he needs you more than he knows. Finally, the day of Young Min's return arrives. Brenda drives to the airport, her stomach full of butterflies. 6 weeks apart felt like 6 years. She waits at the arrival gate, scanning the crowd. Then she sees him and her breath catches. Young Min looks tired, a little thinner, but his face lights up when he spots her. He drops his bag and runs. Actually runs, dodging other travelers, until he reaches her and pulls her into his arms. They stand there in the middle of the airport, holding each other while people flow around them like water around stones. Never again, Young Min mutters against her hair. Never 6 weeks apart again. I cannot do it. You did it, we both did. Barely. He pulls back to look at her, his hands framing her face. I missed you so much. I missed you too. He kisses her right there in the airport, deep and thorough and not caring who sees. When they finally part, both breathless, Young Min rests his forehead against hers. Come home with me. Not to discuss moving in yet, just to be together. I need to be near you. Okay. They drive to Atherton, Young Min holding her hand the entire way, occasionally bringing it to his lips like he needs to reassure himself she is real. Mrs. Choi greets them at the door with a knowing smile. Welcome home, Mr. Kang. The house has been too quiet without you. It is good to be back, Mrs. Choi. Take the rest of the day off. In fact, take the whole weekend. Mrs. Choi's smile widens. Of course, sir. Enjoy your reunion. Once they are alone, Young Min and Brenda don't make it past the living room. They make love on the couch, desperate and urgent, reconnecting after weeks apart. Then again later, slowly and tenderly in his bedroom, taking time to relearn each other. Afterward, lying tangled together in his massive bed, Young Min traces patterns on Brenda's bare shoulder. I want to tell you about Seoul, he says quietly, about what happened there. Okay. My father and I came to an understanding, not a good one, but functional. He has accepted that I will not give you up, though he is not happy about it. In exchange, I agreed to bring you to Seoul eventually to let my family meet you properly. Brenda props herself up on one elbow. You want me to meet your family, the ones who tried to bribe me to leave. I want them to see what I see, that you are brilliant and strong and exactly who I choose, that they can either accept you and have me in their lives or reject you and lose me entirely. He plays with a strand of her hair. It will not be easy. They will test you and judge you and probably say hurtful things. But I think if they actually meet you, some of them might understand. When? Not yet. Maybe in a few months when we are both ready. There is no rush. They spend the weekend in a bubble, rarely leaving the penthouse, just being together. Young Min cooks. Brenda helps him practice his English pronunciation. They watch movies and talk about everything and nothing. On Sunday evening, as they sit on the balcony watching the sunset, Young Min brings up the moving-in conversation again. I meant what I said at the airport. I want you here with me permanently. Not as my employee, not as a guest. As my partner, sharing this space and this life. That's a big change. I know, which is why I want you to think about it, really think about it. What would you need to feel comfortable? Your own space in the house. Changes to how things are set up. I want this to be your home too, not just mine. Brenda considers. I'd want to keep some independence. Maybe keep my apartment for a while, or at least have a space here that's just mine. The library. You love the library. We could convert it into your private office and reading room. Somewhere you can go when you need quiet or space from me. You'd give up the library. I would give up anything to make you happy. He takes her hand. So what do you think? Can you see yourself living here, building a life with me? Brenda looks out over the grounds, the bay visible in the distance. She thinks about her tiny apartment in Oakland, about the life she has been living versus the life she could have. But more than that, she thinks about Young Min, about how he makes her feel seen and valued and loved, about building something real together, something that belongs to both of them. Yes, she says, I can see it, let's do it. Young Min's smile could light up the entire Bay Area. He pulls her into his lap and kisses her until they are both breathless and laughing. Over the next month, they make it official. Brenda keeps her Oakland apartment but moves most of her things to the penthouse. True to his word, Young Min converts the library into her private space, complete with a desk for her teaching work and a reading nook by the windows. Brenda starts her teaching job at the Menlo Park Elementary School and discovers she loves it even more than she expected. Young Min restructures his work schedule to be home for dinner most nights, making an effort to separate work and personal time. They develop rhythms and routines. Morning coffee together before Brenda heads to school, Young Min picking her up some afternoons. Earning delighted giggles from her students who think her boyfriend is a prince. Cooking dinner together, a fusion of Korean and American dishes that sometimes works and sometimes does not, but is always an adventure. They have their first real fight about Brenda insisting on contributing to household expenses. Youngmin thinks it is ridiculous when he has so much more money. Brenda thinks it is necessary for her self-respect. They compromise. Brenda pays what she would pay for rent at her apartment, and Youngmin accepts it even though it is a fraction of the penthouse's actual costs. They meet each other's friends. Youngmin charms Brenda's teacher colleagues at a happy hour. Brenda navigates a shipping industry cocktail party, holding her own with business people who initially dismiss her, but come to respect her intelligence and directness. Youngmin's mother calls occasionally, their conversations awkward but slowly warming. She never apologizes for the bribe attempt, but she asks about Brenda's teaching job and seems genuinely interested in her life. 3 months into living together, Youngmin takes Brenda to a small Korean tea house in Los Altos Hills for the weekend. "There is someone I want you to meet," he explains on the drive. "Someone important." "Who?" "My grandmother, my mother's mother. She is the family matriarch, and her opinion matters more than anyone else's." Brenda's stomach knots. "Your mother's mother, the one who probably disapproves of me most." "Maybe, but she is also the fairest person in my family. If anyone will see you for who you really are, it is her." The tea house is traditional and beautiful, all clean lines and natural wood. An elderly Korean woman waits at a private table in the back, her posture perfect, her eyes sharp and assessing. Youngmin bows deeply and speaks to her in Korean. She responds, her voice crisp, then gestures for them to sit. "Grandmother, this is Brenda Morrison," Youngmin says in English. "Brenda, this is my grandmother, Kim Sun-hee." Sun-hee looks at Brenda with an intensity that feels like being X-rayed. She speaks in Korean, and a translator who has been standing quietly in the corner steps forward. She says you may call her Halmoni, which means grandmother, and she wants to know why you love her grandson. Brenda takes a breath, meeting Sun-hee's eyes directly. "I love him because he's kind when he could be cruel, because he works hard to be better than his circumstances, because he looks at me like I matter, like I'm precious, even when the world tells him I shouldn't be." The translator relays this. Sun-hee's expression doesn't change, but she nods slightly and speaks again. She asks what you offer him that others cannot. "Honesty, a life that's his own, not his family's. Someone who loves him for who he is, not what he can provide." Brenda pauses. "And really terrible jokes that make him laugh when he's stressed." That gets a flicker of something in Sun-hee's eyes, possibly amusement. The tea ceremony begins, and they sit in silence as Sun-hee prepares the tea with precise, graceful movements. She pours for each of them, then speaks again. She says you have courage to come here, to face the family who has tried to drive you away. That shows character. Sun-hee asks more questions through the translator, about Brenda's family, her work, her dreams, about how she and Youngmin met, how the relationship developed. Brenda answers honestly, not trying to impress or deflect. Finally, Sun-hee sets down her teacup and dismisses the translator with a gesture. She speaks directly to Youngmin in Korean for several minutes. Brenda watches his face, seeing surprise, then emotion, then something like relief. When Sun-hee finishes, Youngmin has tears in his eyes. He bows deeply, speaking words that sound like gratitude. Sun-hee turns to Brenda and speaks slowly in accented English. "You are good for my grandson. I see how he looks at you. Same way my husband looked at me before he died. That kind of love is rare." She reaches across the table and takes Brenda's hand, her grip surprisingly strong. "My daughter tells me they offered you money to leave. You said no. That is good. Money is easy, love is hard, but love is what matters." She pats Brenda's hand. "You have my blessing. Tell the family I said so." The blessing changes everything. Within a week, Youngmin's mother calls to arrange a proper dinner in San Francisco, her tone considerably warmer than previous conversations. Even Youngmin's father sends a stiff email acknowledging Brenda's place in his son's life, though it is clear he remains skeptical. Sung-ho, surprisingly, is the most direct. He calls Youngmin one evening while they are cooking dinner. "Put me on speaker," Young Min says, then addresses his brother. Brenda is here. Say what you need to say. I underestimated you, Sung-ho says to Brenda. Both of you. I thought this was a phase, rebellion against family expectations. But grandmother does not give her blessing lightly. If she sees something worthy in this relationship, then I was wrong to oppose it. It is not quite an apology, but coming from Sung-ho, it is close. Thank you, Brenda says. Do not thank me. Just take care of my brother. He is softer than he looks. I know. After the call ends, Young Min pulls Brenda into his arms. Miracles do happen. Did your brother just give us his approval? In his way, yes. This is very unlike him. Young Min kisses the top of her head. Things are going to get easier now, not perfect, but easier. He is right. Over the next few months, the pressure from Young Min's family lessens. His mother visits California twice, taking Brenda to lunch and slowly building a relationship that is more warm than cordial. His father remains distant, but stops actively working against Young Min's business interests. Brenda's teaching job flourishes. She loves her students, and they love her back. Young Min sometimes visits her classroom, reading stories to the kids in his accented English, making them laugh with silly voices for different characters. They travel together, taking a weekend trip to Seattle and a longer vacation to Hawaii. They talk about the future, where they want to be in 5 years, whether they want children, what their lives might look like. 6 months after Sun-hee's blessing, Young Min takes Brenda to their favorite spot overlooking the bay. It is sunset, the sky painted in oranges and pinks, and he is nervous in a way she has not seen since their first date. I have been practicing this in English, he says, but I keep getting the words wrong, so I am just going to speak from my heart. He gets down on one knee, and Brenda's breath catches. Brenda Morrison, you walked into my life when I thought I had everything figured out. You showed me that I had no idea what I was missing. You make me laugh and make me brave and make me want to be the best version of myself. He pulls out a ring box, opening it to reveal a simple but beautiful diamond. I know we have only been together 1 year. I know my family is complicated and our lives are different and there are still challenges ahead. But I also know that I want to face all of it with you. Will you marry me? Brenda is crying before he finishes. Yes, absolutely yes. Young Min slides the ring onto her finger with shaking hands, then stands and pulls her into his arms. They kiss as the sun sets over the bay, both laughing and crying at once. I was so nervous, Young Min admits. I thought you might say it was too soon. It probably is too soon by normal standards, but nothing about us has been normal from the start. Truth. They decide on a long engagement, wanting to enjoy being engaged without rushing to the altar. Young Min wants to give Brenda time to be absolutely sure, and Brenda wants to finish her first full year of teaching before adding wedding planning to her plate. The engagement party happens 3 months later, a blend of Korean and American traditions at a beautiful venue in Woodside with views of the bay. Young Min's family flies in from Seoul, including Sun-hee, who sits in a place of honor and beams at everyone. Brenda's mother cries happy tears through the whole evening. Devon, who has come to genuinely like and respect Young Min, gives a toast about how happy his sister deserves to be. Mrs. Choi, who has become like a second mother to both of them, manages the event with her usual efficiency and spends the evening looking incredibly proud. There are still awkward moments. Some of Young Min's business associates clearly still question the match. Some of Brenda's extended family are overwhelmed by the wealth on display. But overall, the evening is a celebration of love overcoming obstacles. Late in the party, Brenda catches Young Min staring at her from across the room. When their eyes meet, he blushes that familiar deep red, and she laughs. She crosses to him, sliding her arms around his waist. You're starring again. I cannot help it. You are beautiful, and you are mine, and I still cannot believe you said yes. Get used to it. You're stuck with me now. Best stuck I have ever been. He kisses her softly. Dance with me. They move to the dance floor, and Young Min pulls her close. They sway to the music, surrounded by friends and family who are slowly learning to accept and celebrate their relationship. Are you happy? Young Min asks quietly. Brenda looks up at him, at the man who went from blushing whenever she caught him starring to building a whole life with her. Incredibly happy, you. Happier than I knew was possible. He spins her gently. Thank you for not taking my mother's bribe. Thank you for choosing me over everything else. Easiest choice I ever made. As they dance, Brenda thinks about the past year, about starting as invisible help in a wealthy man's home, about catching him starring and watching him blush, about late-night conversations and brave choices and love that refuse to be convenient or easy. She thinks about the challenges they still face. Youngmin's required trips to Seoul, though now she sometimes goes with him. The continued judgment from some corners of both their worlds. The work of building a life that honors both their backgrounds and creates something new. But mostly she thinks about this. How being truly seen, truly loved, truly valued changes everything. How the most powerful force in the world is not money or family legacy or social expectation, but the courage to choose love over fear. What are you thinking about? Youngmin asks, sensing her reflective mood. How glad I am that you kept starring. Youngmin laughs, his face turning that beautiful shade of red she has come to adore. I could never look away. From the first moment I saw you, you were all I could see. Good, don't stop. Never. They dance on into the evening, surrounded by love and possibility. Two people who proved that sometimes the most unlikely love stories are the ones worth fighting for. And when Brenda catches Youngmin staring at her later, his eyes full of wonder and devotion, she just smiles and stares right back. Because this is what love looks like, imperfect and complicated and absolutely worth every challenge. This is what choosing each other looks like, brave and messy and beautiful. This is what home feels like, not a place, but a person who sees you completely and loves you anyway. Youngmin and Brenda build their future one day at a time, one brave choice at a time, one loving glance at a time. And if he still blushes when she catches him starring, well, that is just part of their story. The best part. The part that makes everything else worth it.